All right. Welcome back to No Filter MMA. We are back with special guest Tom Mearns. Now, if you guys checked the last interview we interviewed his identical twin brother, Richard Mearns, and we spoke a little bit about Tom, who has competed as high as Bellator. So we are here. Welcome in, Tom. How you doing, man?
I'm very well. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Just excited for this interview. What you been up to
Yeah,
lately,
me
man?
too.
Since you've been out for a little while with your injury, give us an update on that.
Yep. So I had my surgery about just under 2 weeks ago. It'll be 2 weeks this Tuesday. Yeah. And
So
I had a reconstruction of the ulnar and radial collateral ligaments, and a piece of bone was removed as well. Yeah.
so tell us how that happened, man. You were this happened at Bellator 200, right?
Yep. I was
So talk.
fighting Mike Ekendeo, and going into the fight, I had an avulsion fracture on my arm. I can hear what is it? An echoing. Is there something wrong with my headset or I don't know?
No, it sounds pretty good on my end.
Okay. All right, that's cool. Don't worry. Yeah. So I I won the first round pretty clearly, and then going into the second round, I got caught with an Uchimata throw, so I posted out to defend the takedown, and then my arm literally folded completely the wrong way. So it was pretty horrible injury, very painful. But yeah, it's just the road to recovery now. Get back to that
And
world class
it looks
stage
like
is what
you
I'm looking for.
it looks like you were winning that fight, if you ask me. Until
Yep.
that horrific injury happened, man, I was like, man, he just that fight is gone. You know, like he had this fight in the books, and it's gone, completely gone. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I was down at Cage Warriors last night. Are you familiar with the promotion?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that Mike Ikendeo was the co-main event, and he fought Ed Arthur. So he beat him on a unanimous three-round decision, and which is a good win because that's a former world champion in Ed Arthur. So yeah, he's doing very well. It's good to see him do well after the fight. I wouldn't want anything other than that for him. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's good to show support, man. Absolutely. So let me ask you this question, man. Like, so when we were interviewing Richard, I asked Richard a bunch of questions, and
yeah.
some of those questions I definitely want to get your perspective on those questions. So Richard tells me that you two wanted to be, you wanted to set yourself apart from everyone else. You guys didn't want to be normal. You didn't want to work normal jobs. You guys wanted to be,
No.
you know, set apart differently than other people. Tell us about that.
Yeah, just refusing to let go of my childish ambitions. Really, I work a normal job. I'm grateful for that as well. But
Right.
I'm just driven. I like to do the extra. I like to be challenged. So my situation right now, it really sucked at first, but now I put it on its head as like it's a brand new challenge for me. So
Yeah.
I got drive and I like to feed it. If you understand what I'm saying. So
Absolutely.
growing up, I was always inspired by, it sounds silly, people like Jackie Chan and that. When I was really young, this is really young.
Oh
I
yeah.
was so young. So yeah, they were my idols. And then so I got into martial arts, kept practicing martial arts, and then I never come away from it, including when I went through my teenage years. I kept training martial arts, competing in taekwondo, and then I was 16 years old, and then I transitioned into MMA, and everything felt so right, so organic, and learning was just so much fun. So I just stuck at it ever since, and I want to go to the top, quite frankly, and that's what I want to do.
Absolutely. You're getting there, man. I mean, you're fighting on Bellator. You've had a fight in Bellator,
Yep.
and Bellator is shaping up to be the place where everybody wants to go now. There's
Yeah,
a
man.
lot of stuff going on with the UFC that a lot of people aren't agreeing with. So we're gonna get to that though. So tell me
Yeah, yeah.
who started who really got serious in martial arts first? Was it you or was it Richard?
It was me, because it's hard to say. He went down the road of Muay Thai. I went down the road of
Okay.
mixed martial arts. But
Okay.
I was definitely wanted it more career-wise than him. If you understand what I'm saying, it's hard to
Hmm.
say. I can't really speak for him, but I don't know if anyone really wanted it as much as I do. But yeah, I would say it was me. It's a
Okay.
hard
All right.
question to be fair. Yeah,
Okay. All right. All right. So tell us, what are you doing right now as far as like recovery and
yeah,
rehabbing your arm? Because Richard, but you're doing a lot of cardio work. So just let us know what are you doing right now to get yourself back right?
yeah. So it's staying healthy, eating good, eating clean. The way I see it, immediately after Bellator, when I was injured, I spent roughly 3 weeks of not like living a good lifestyle, just maybe sulking about the loss and stuff, and eating bad food and not looking after myself. And then I realized I was getting in more of a rut. So I could turn this around, providing I keep myself well and healthy. So, firstly, is my nutrition and good rest. And then at the moment, I've just had the surgery. So it's quite weird. It feels like I've gone so many steps backwards
Yeah.
from the prehab towards the surgery.
Right.
So before that, I had the surgery. My arm felt actually very strong and pretty good, but of course there was these two ligaments that are crucial for stability that weren't attached, but all the other muscles supported the arm really well.
Hmm.
And now I've had them ligaments reattached, piece of bone removed. The arm's really stiff, so it's at the moment I'm icing it every day, and then I'm getting a little bit more brave enough every day to start massaging through the scar tissue.
Yeah.
Try not to do too much. I'm often my own worst enemy. I'll give you a little look at the like the war wounds, but it's hard. I don't know if you
Woo!
can see it too well, but there's like a
Oh, I
scar
can
up
see it. I
there.
can definitely see it.
Oh, is it? Cool. It's kind of hard for me to see it myself on
Hmm.
this thing, but and then
Yeah.
on the other side, sorry, if I don't know if the light's too good.
Oh man.
Yeah, but there's a scar there, and there's lots of swelling, lots of swelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but it's all right. I'm good with these things, so it's a setback, but I'll be fine. Be completely fine. Yeah.
So how does it feel like? So how does the mobility coming on? Is it? Are you moving it well? Are you trying to get back into sparring or grappling or what's how's it going?
Yeah, so the surgeon said I most probably won't be able to fully straighten my arm completely. But this is I feel like they have to after surgery they can't tell you like
Yeah.
it's going to be a fairy tale because everyone's different. Having said that though, literally within a week I was almost able to fully straighten my arm, which was already a few steps ahead than they said I would be able to do, and that probably because of all the prehab I did before the surgery.
Right.
And yeah, but the arm's really stiff at the moment, but in time I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, man. I mean,
hopefully doing some cryotherapy next week.
somebody who's kept themselves in shape like you have, training for these fights and eating well and exercising a lot. You bounce back from these things better than the average person. So yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
just discipline. It's all about discipline, the whole game, everything. If you're an
Absolutely.
entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, discipline's what's going to get you there. So I stay disciplined.
Absolutely, yeah. So now, one thing that I've noticed watching your fights is we're
Yeah.
gonna start talking about a few of your fights, man. Because I've been past week or so, I've been looking at your fights, trying to figure out your style. Because when I interviewed your
Hmm.
brother, I looked at his fights and I noticed very quickly these guys are two completely different styles of
Hugely. I
fighting.
completely agree. Yeah.
Absolutely different. So it seems like to me, like in a lot of your fights, you're what 5-2, is that right?
Yeah, I'm 7-0 now. I'm 5-2. But yeah, I was undefeated as a pro until this year. Ironically, this year was when I tried even harder than previously because I
Yeah.
realized okay, I can go very far.
Yeah.
So I gave it my all, and then I was hoping to have way more than two fights this year. But of course, what happened
It's
at
all good.
Bellator.
It's all
Yeah,
good,
so
man.
5-2, unfortunately.
It's
But
all right, man.
yeah,
Hey,
they'll
the
be the only
comeback
two
is what
losses.
counts. The comeback is what counts,
Exactly.
man.
A bit of controversy is good. I'll just put my head down, be quiet, keep winning. But it's not enough. Maybe I needed to break my arm to turn a few heads. I don't know. But it's the entertainment industry, so it's
Oh,
fine.
absolutely, absolutely. So it seems like when you fight, um, you're not the tallest fighter. You and your brother, either one
No,
of you, aren't the tallest fighter. It seems like
no.
that you're always at like a size disadvantage, like a size and reach disadvantage. How do you
Yeah.
constantly have to train over and over for someone who's, for taller, longer reach fighters? What is that like?
Um, Even if I'm taller than my opponents, I sometimes still have shorter reach than them because I have like a short composition with my limbs, but my actual torso is kind of long compared to my legs and arms. So it's important to recognize what your body is like because I think ultimately what seems to define your style is really your body composition, if that makes sense. But I like it. I like to be active, to pressure a lot, and yeah, I'm not bothered by people with tall reach. I would rather be the short, stocky guy than be that tall guy trying to get away from the short, stocky guy. But
Right.
it does present challenges too. Like you can see when I fought Aiden Lee, that was very difficult.
Oh yeah.
Having said that though, that's the most fun I've had in a long time because of that challenge. Yeah.
So, but one thing that surprises me though, and I'm pretty sure it surprises the guy. What's up, Brad? Comment section going. What's up, Brad? Brad's he's one of the other co-hosts on this podcast, but he's working today,
Okay.
so he can't join us. But he's in the
What's up,
comment
Brad?
section. But anyways, anyways, your opponent seemed to be surprised by the strength.
Yeah.
That's what kind of
Okay.
that's what I noticed.
Me and my brother, we do feel like we kind of got farmer strength, is the way I describe it. Um, I think good genetics, in a sense. Well, maybe not good genetics because we're pretty short, but I'd say athletically, we've always been strong. And then no matter what, I've lived a really physical lifestyle from ever since I was a young boy till now. So I was so active, never indoors, hardly ever watched TV, and worked physical jobs, a lot of manual laboring jobs, and then work ethic, maybe from my parents, I'm not too sure, but I just push hard, I do my shift at work, come home, I eat. Of course, every other fighter does this, you know, but yeah, just work ethic, and it transcends into actual physical strength, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. But I feel it's more on a psychological level. It's
absolutely,
hard. It's hard for me
absolutely.
to explain that. I've probably done an awful job trying to explain it right now, but I can just push
No,
to
man.
exhaustion.
No, it's
Even
great.
when I'm
It's great.
exhausted, I will still perform, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And one thing I noticed too is some fighters have the tendency, um, especially fighters that haven't made it quite to that top level yet. It seems like when they get hit, they tend to show that they've been hit. Like they
Yeah.
slow down, their punches start coming all
Hmm.
weary and weird. And it seems like I've seen, especially in the was it the Aiden Lee fight, you got hit. But
Yeah.
it never slowed you down, not once.
No.
So I thought that was a lot of heart to show, even in a
Yeah.
fight that was a war. The Aiden Lee fight was definitely a war.
What
You
I'd
kept
say
coming
about
forward.
that, yeah.
Go ahead.
So you go ahead.
No, go
Yeah.
ahead, man. This is your interview.
Yeah, when I was a little kid training Taekwondo, we had an extremely, extremely intimidating and strict Taekwondo instructor called Gordon. Great guy, but discipline was the utmost. And he would condition us to have indomitable spirit. And at the end of every class, after doing how many press ups, how many horrible kind of drills, we would have to read out the oath of Taekwondo, blah blah blah. I should remember it, but I can't. But and that's what that's about. It's indomitable spirit. So, the same frame of mind when I was fighting Aiden Lee is exactly the same frame of mind that you will see when I return, and to the injury I have now. Everything swings and roundabouts, up and downs, but you just keep pushing forward. And I was saying to myself, ironically, oh, if you're not disabled, you're doing fine. So keep going in the fight. And then the one time where my fight got so bad, where I couldn't actually really continue, was Bellator. I genuinely was disabled. But
Hmm.
quite frankly, in the fight with Aiden Lee, nothing bothered me at all in the slightest. I truly knew I belonged to be there on a world-class stage with world-class opponents. That didn't
Hmm.
phase me. And going into a fight, if you get hit, why would you get upset when you know you've opted to be in a fight? So it just didn't bother me. I was like, I'm not disabled, I'm fine. And I do genuinely love competition, so it was stimulating for me. So I just kept pushing. I thought, yeah, it's going to be fine. Keep going, keep going. And by all means, it's exactly the same. I'll just keep performing in that type of way. Of course, I'll strategize to be different, but yeah, it just didn't bother me. I was fine.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems like and I was speaking about your reach advantage in that Aiden Lee fight. Seems like with the stand up, it was and that's why I think you probably should have won that fight because with the first round it was a lot of stand up. Once again the reach advantage for him was there, and but when you came out in the second round, you came out with a lot of clinch work. You came out with a lot of like your pressure.
Yeah,
You put on a lot more pressure than you did in the first round. You
yeah,
closed the distance easily, very easily closed
yeah,
the distance. And I feel like you switched up your game plan, or
yeah,
not that you switched up your game plan, like you made adjustments mid fight. And
yeah.
to me, it looked like you won rounds two and three, but
That's how I
they
felt.
gave
Yeah.
the decision to him. So what did you do, knowing that you were at that reach disadvantage? What clicked in your head coming out of the first round into the second round?
Okay. Yeah. So the first round was very hard and very difficult. His shots, they were strong. They felt good. But I completely expected a really tough first round, and I knew that wasn't really my attribute. Ironically, I'd finished fights early in the past. I don't know why that would happen that way, but I'm more of a guy that I feel gets stronger when the fight goes longer. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was just the first round was difficult. I'm not very fast twitch. I can definitely change that. I can work some conditioning, but I feel my attributes naturally is you know God given, or wouldn't know how to describe it, but or genetically is endurance. So muscular endurance, good cardio. I'm hardly not the best sprinter type of person. So yeah, I don't know. Just finished that first round. I was still in good spirits. I was unsure whether I won that first round or not, but I just didn't mind at all. And then when I went out for that second round, I was just ready to have a good time. Really in a flow state, really enjoying what I do, and just having the most fun. You know.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's
Absolutely.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite fights in a long time.
Well, I want to ask you this question before I go into the next fight that I watched. I
Yeah,
want to say, what do you consider yourself more like? And I think it's pretty interesting that I asked this question because I see you as the type of fighter that no matter where the fight goes, you you go there. Like if the fight goes to the ground, you're
yeah,
completely comfortable fighting on the ground. If the fight's on the
yeah,
feet, you're completely comfortable fighting on the feet. And if it's a clinch war,
yeah.
you're 100% cool with a clinch war. So where do you consider yourself to be your best attribute as far as striking or grappling?
Mhm. Um, Oh, it's been up and down since when I made my pro debut, or my last amateur fight, I mean to say, I was probably more of a grappler, mainly because I noticed that on the amateur circuit they seem to be lacking in the grappling. And
Hmm.
then I made my transition to pro, and I realized you just can't dominate these people grappling. It's well you can, but it's a lot harder. You have to be more versatile. So that's when my boxing really come on leaps and bounds, and you'll see in my pro debut, it was just there. I don't have a preference. I really do enjoy the whole game. It seems
Right.
to be 1 year I feel like I love the striking more. Another year, something's really caught my eye or re-sparked my kind of passion in the grappling aspect. But I would say I'm just a grinder. I'm a
Yeah.
grinder. But
Yes, I agree. I agree.
I don't want to just label myself as one thing because I always know I can adapt and change myself any given time. You got to evolve in the game or be extinct, is the way I see it. So,
Oh yeah.
at the moment, the way you see my performances, they may be the same on my return if need be, but I could be completely different athlete in the way I approach a fight and my style. But I'm often a pressure fighter. Because
Yeah.
it's fun. I like to pressure.
And it's crazy that you say you've taken more toward the striking aspect of it because when you fought Marco Bosca, he's a submission specialist, and
Yeah,
every if you listen to the fight, the commentators were saying, we're praising his submission skills, and I'm thinking, hey, okay, so he's praising these guys'
yeah.
submission skills, and it looks to me like Tom is more of a striker, but you submitted him. So walk us through
Okay.
how it felt.
Yeah.
Walk us through how it felt to submit a submission specialist.
Okay. Maybe in Italy he was more of a submission specialist. Maybe his camp, Hungman, were a bit more advanced at the time in submission grappling. I've always known the Italians to be exceptional strikers, world-class strikers. You see, they dominate K1 and all sorts. In the
Yes.
past, I've studied them when they've come to the UK, and I was never impressed with the grappling as of then. But right, I'm sure they've completely adapted. I bet they got amazing grapplers out there. But I assumed actually, even though he was labelled as that, I didn't give it too much power to what he was labelled as in my head. I actually thought he'd be
Right.
lacking in the grappling, more competent in the striking, and I think I was right, because when we wrestled, when we grappled, he gave up the submission very easily. But usually, with the Italian people, I've noticed the attributes were actually more in striking. So I went along with that, but I didn't necessarily need to submit him. I felt comfortable striking with him as well. I feel like he was really struggling with intimidation.
Right.
Probably it'd been a while since he had had a fight, and he'd flown over to the UK. So he seemed to have broken spirits a bit when we fought. So that's how the fight ended. And then I got him to the ground and I thought, he's ready to go. So let's finish the fight now.
I mean,
So
that's
I
that
just
rear
went for
neck
the
man.
rear naked choke.
That rear naked choke. I want to talk about that rear naked choke because it seems
Yeah.
like when you got him down, it was like it started as like a crank, like you had it kind of across his
Uh-huh.
chin, and you were
Yeah.
cranking, and then he slipped up, and you flattened him out, and it just slipped right under the chin, man, and it was perfect. It was
Mhm.
absolutely perfect.
It was it was a quite a cruel submission because you can go for the rear naked choke where you literally just apply pressure to the two arteries on either side of the neck.
Okay.
I didn't do that. I went for because he was tucking the chin. So I couldn't really get to the two arteries with the bicep or the forearm. They weren't
Right.
really exposed. It wasn't clean. Or I probably could have, but it seemed too fiddly. So I did feel a strength advantage, and not just a strength advantage. I knew I would get perfect leverage. I put my forearm down his back. I believe I take a gable grip, and then it's like a bar. I bring it across the face, completely legal in MMA, and the leverage you generate is horrible. If you're a strong man or a weak man, the leverage you generate, it just mathematically, I don't know how it works, but it just is strong, no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So I went for that because I knew he'd have no choice but to then lift the chin. When he lifted the chin, he then goes straight onto the Adam's apple. So then I rolled the shoulder back to get more leverage through it. And then also I then put my hips in and arch my back as well. And then yeah, it was brutal submission. He had to tap.
Yeah, he had to tap, man. When I seen it
Yeah,
slip, I was like, "Oh boy, this is over. This is
yeah,
over." So
yeah.
okay, so let
I
me
do like grappling,
another
man.
one.
It's good fun too.
Oh yeah. So another thing I wanted to
Yeah,
ask was your cardio, man. Your cardio, it's like you never stop, man. It's just like you
yeah.
never stop.
Hmm.
It's crazy because you showed it in the Bosco fight as well. Well, the Bosco fight ended pretty quickly, but you definitely showed it
Yeah.
in the Aiden Lee fight. I mean, just going, 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 going. Talk to us about how you train. How, what do you do to train your cardio? You said you're not a
Yeah.
sprinter, so tell us how you work on that.
Yeah. So I think I'm definitely going to work a lot more sprints in the future. Like I said, evolve or be extinct. I don't want to be a one-trick pony or too predictable, and I would say
Right.
I'm definitely guilty of being predictable um, within my techniques and like my fitness attributes. But with the cardio, first of all, I genuinely love running. It's sort of my form of meditation.
Yes.
I don't really choose to run on treadmills ever. I put the running trainers on and I run outside. I do my road work. I like to run in the countryside, run up hills, and you really get to know yourself, your limitations of your body through running. So I cycle a lot too, and of course I'm working in a warehouse leading up to my fights. So often I would cycle to work. I realized I was doing far too much now because I'd be exhausted. I was struggling to learn in training actually. So cycle to work, and then I do my shift at work, and then I'm lifting heavy cases in a warehouse, and they expect you to hit this pick rate. When you're training full time, I can't hit the pick rate. It's really hard. So full time physical job, cycle home. Of course, I go training, I do my rounds, and as soon as I have free time, you see a lot of people in the past do some really scientific training methods. But what always I'm actually leaning towards more towards that way at the moment with my rehabilitation. But I would just run all the time. I just love running, up hills, round lakes. So that's how I condition my cardio. And one thing that makes your cardio go a lot further is actually your composure.
Right.
So you see people talk about world title fights and stuff, and I used to think to myself, how could I ever fight for a world title? It's absolute madness that someone can fight for 25 minutes. And then my coach said to me, "He's like, it's not always the fittest man that actually can do the 25 minutes. Of course, that helps, so you should be, but it's the man who can play the game better and stay composed, stay collected, stay in good spirits." And along with good cardio, that goes a long way. So it's a matter of my frame of mind because I say I get tired, I get really tired, but I still keep performing because you can, it's it's a battle between your mind.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So speaking of the mental aspect of the whole fight game, let me ask you
Yeah,
this: when you're walking into, because when you walk into the cage, man, your face just turns. It's like you're a completely different person.
yeah,
Same with your brother, man. It's like this look comes over y'all's face, and it's like, man, it's like they don't look so nice. Obviously, you guys are
yeah,
very nice guys, but you don't look very nice in the cage.
yeah.
What is going through your
I'm not
mind when
nice.
you walk in and when you walk in and see your opponent standing across the cage? What's going through your mind?
um, I'm not too emotional or anything about the whole thing. I'm definitely very passionate and I care so much about winning, and that's why I do consistently win. It's more of just a pure focus. I appreciate other athletes, they dance to the cage, they do whatever because it is an entertainment sport. For me though, it's nothing but pure focus.
Yeah.
In a fight, and it is a fight. You can call it a sport as well, but it's most definitely a fight. There's real consequences if you don't give it enough respect, and it's just me paying my full respect to the situation I'm in. I'm in a fight through and through, and I must win. And yeah, it's just the mental state I get in before I compete. But I am quite relaxed. But it's, yeah, just I show them nothing but pure concentration, and I'm there to win the fight. I always keep my eyes on my guy. Um, some people don't like to look at him before, but for me personally, as soon as I'm in there, I'm facing the music. I see my opponent, and I never take my eye off of him. And yeah, that's just how I like to compete. It makes me feel good. I get very familiar, very comfortable. Um, and yeah, I just take it really serious when I'm in there.
First off, guys in the live chat, hit the like button. Tom is spitting some knowledge in here. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. So okay, so you train with your brother. So tell me what it's like to train with, pretty much, with someone you grew up with your whole life. Do you, when you spar with your brother, do y'all actually hit each other, or are you take it easy on each
Yeah.
other?
Up and down. We have got really competitive with each other in the past. Sometimes we had some, rounds that get a bit rough, but overall we don't usually. We're really supportive of each other, and I probably that's why my fitness is so good too, though, because of the motivation from Richard. We always hit each other up. Let's go on a run. Let's go do this. Another thing we like to do, like we would jog up hills with each other. With Gable grip my brother, like a wrestling carry, and he'll lay like sideways, and I start trying to walk up a hill with him and stuff like that. So it's a huge advantage actually. But yeah, it's just really good training with my brother. I need to relax more when he goes into competitions, maybe, and just let him do his thing because I'm almost acting like a parent sometimes. Like, and that's completely my fault, not his. It's me being an idiot, really. Like, just being trying to make sure it's the perfect storm for him to fight. Yeah, because he knows what he's doing. So, but yeah, it's incredible. But I do care a lot when he fights, and I get maybe too involved, too invested in it when I just let him do his thing.
I
That's
have
what
a
I should do.
question, man. So
Yeah,
in the live chat, Richard Mearns is asking whose grappling is better.
mine. Reason being
Oh,
because I'm just the best. uh,
oh, oh boy. So we got his brother. We got his brother in the live chat talking smack. Okay. Oh, so okay.
yeah,
So you the same question I asked your brother. What is
yeah,
it like seeing, because you guys are in each other's corner? That's when I
yeah.
interviewed when I interviewed Richard and I was watching this fight. So I'm like, who in the heck is this guy that looks just like him in his corner? Then that's when I figured
Mm,
out that there were two of you. So what is it
yeah.
like being in your brother's corner, watching your brother go out there and fight?
It's extremely intense. So everything is just multiplied, whether win or if it's a loss. We really live it together. Yeah, it's hard to say because that makes us sound like we're dependent on each other. We're not at all. We're actually probably the most independent twins I've ever known.
Right.
We don't need each other's company. Like some twins, they literally join at the hip. But when we fight, who better to have in your corner than your brother? The chemistry's the best. The understanding, compassion, all that. But it's pretty awesome actually. Like some of Richard's big victories, I'm there in the best seat in the house to watch it from when he finished his amateur career. That was stunning. So yeah, it's amazing. It's intense. It's incredible experience, is what I would say.
Yeah, yeah. Your brother says, how many stripes do you have on your blue belt? He says, keep working. Maybe he'll be a purple belt like me one day.
Ah, it's all right. You know what? I never struggle with brown belts in no-gi contests. So, but yeah, in time I'll get a purple belt when it means enough for me to deserve it. But as of right now, I don't deserve a purple belt. Why? Because I haven't given the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that's in the gi enough care,
Right.
love, and attention.
Okay.
I've been focused on my MMA, and but in time, I'll get my purple belt. But
Well,
for
you're
now,
definitely not
I'm
scared
trying
to
to be
go. You're
world
not
class
scared to
MMA
go. You're
fighter.
not scared to take it. You're not scared to take it to the ground. So we're definitely
No,
not worried about that. Well, let me ask you this
yeah,
question. Let's see. So, in a fantasy world, let's say you and your
yeah,
brother are in the same promotion,
mhm,
fighting. Let's say like Bellator or something, fighting in the same weight
yeah.
class, and the opportunity comes to where you guys may have to face each other. What would you? I remember what Richard said about that, but tell me what would be your thought process. They say, hey man, let's say you're number one, he's number two, or vice versa. This is a title eliminator fight. What happens?
We would have to talk. So what would probably happen? I'll say to Richard, I'll be like, all right, look, let's milk this as much as we can. get as many heads turned as much as we can, pretend we hate each other when we don't, and then talk a load of crap, and then really stir the pot, get everyone watching, and be like, "Oh my God, are these two brothers really going to fight?" And then one of us will get submitted in the fight, and the one who loses by submission can have most of the money, but the other one gets to be the champion.
Okay,
That's what
okay,
I
that's fair
say.
enough. That's fair
So
enough.
we'll fix
That's
it.
fair
We'll
enough.
fix it like hell because I can't fight my brother.
I mean, I would too, man. I couldn't go in there and beat my sibling up
Hell
either,
no.
let alone my
No.
twin, man.
Hell no.
Man.
But
So,
nah, that will never happen.
Richard wants me to ask you about Empire Grappling.
Empire grappling. Oh yeah, I had an avulsion fracture on my arm, so I didn't perform too well in Empire grappling. But yeah, and then I've then found out in Bellator that I had an avulsion fracture because my arm dislocated.
Ooh,
But
ooh.
yeah, no, Empire grappling. I'll tell you what happened. I just went to a grappling tournament and I performed really badly in all my grappling contests. Exhaustion, lack of passion, lack of
Mm-hmm.
will, lack of care. Didn't really want it. I was focusing on Bellator coming up in the past, no, in the future, past what I'm on about. And yeah, and at that stage, I was suffering with exhaustion on a extreme level. I finished a 10-day working day week at the warehouse because there's a part where the rotor goes back to back or something like that. And then I needed to do a shift change to get the weekend off to do this tournament as well. So I was exhausted from trying to train full time, which is silly because I realized I wasn't actually improving. All I was is killing myself with my own work ethic. And then come the grappling tournament, I looked at the grappling tournament only as a little extra training when I couldn't even do any more extra training.
Mm-hmm.
But I like won my first two in the gi, and then I lost the decision to Richard in the gi, but I didn't mind. And then well, I did actually, and then I did really bad in the no gi, and that's not like me. I always win when I do no gi contests. I usually clear out
Right.
gold quite comfortably. But yeah, just an awful day for me. Just and then it got even worse from Bellator. But it's all part of
Yeah.
it. I'll turn it around,
So
and
it's
I most definitely will.
absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, I have a. So now we're gonna. So we know everything about Richard so far. Excuse me, Tom. It's hard, dude. Let me tell you, it's so hard to tell you guys apart, man. There is no telling
Yeah.
you guys apart. I have to just reach out to you on social media to know which one I'm talking to. But there's a lot going on right now when it comes to the high level mixed martial arts, man. And
Yeah.
your brother says you're the guru. So I definitely have
Hmm.
to ask you some of these questions, man, to get your
Go
thoughts
on.
on this.
Okay.
He says, excuse me, he says you're the mastermind. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and the live chat is buzzing for me to answer this question, ask you this question. First of
Yeah.
all, my mom is asking when is his next fight. His next fight's not going to be for a while. He suffered a pretty bad injury and just had surgery. Um,
But that's a good
and
question
Richard's
still, because I keep asking myself the same thing. I can't wait. Can't wait for the next fight, but it's going to be big when it comes. Most certainly will.
Oh yeah,
And you know, if
Richard
people
says
got
jokes.
opponents that would like
Go
to
ahead.
see me fight, let me know. Let me know who the people want me to fight next. That's what I want to know. Who do the public want me to fight for my next fight?
Well,
Maybe a rematch. Who knows?
I said something to your brother. You know about a good matchup would be between either one of you guys and Scott Butters. That would
Yeah.
be an interesting
Um.
matchup.
Yeah. Scott's great guy. I think it's a better fight for my brother because they're both at the. You know, I'm very much at the early stages of my pro career, but I think they went pro on the same exact same year. So
Yeah,
that could potentially happen, most certainly.
yeah, that would be interesting, very interesting. But okay, so we're gonna get to some UFC stuff.
Yeah.
Asking because everybody in the live chat's like, all right, let's go, let's ask him some questions. What do you think about the? My co-host is actually asking me to ask you about the Valentina Shevchenko Nico Montano situation. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. I haven't been keeping up with it. Wait,
Well,
wait.
you know,
Is it that's
Nico.
a female
Go
fight?
ahead.
Is it? No,
Yes.
who is it? Okay.
Nico is the winner of the Ultimate Fighter, who's now the flyweight champion, and then
Oh,
you have
okay. Yeah,
Valentina
yeah.
Shevchenko dropping back down. Yeah.
Oh, I would say I can't give you an educated answer on this one, but I'm gonna make a guess. The one who's dropping down the weight class will win that fight.
Oh, oh, see, oh man, you just fueling him. Fight. You giving my code. He's going crazy in the live chat because you just gave him so much more fuel to use.
Yeah, it was a pure
That's
guess though.
crazy, man. Because I'm a Nico fan and he's a Valentina Shevchenko fan. So, anyways, it is Brad. We'll get to that later, bro. Um, Alan Frost says a rematch with Steve Amable on Cage Warriors. What do you think about that?
Who said that?
Alan
Alan Frost.
Frost.
Oh, well, yeah, most certainly that can happen. I've got a lot of respect for Steve as a fighter, but that's a fight that could happen. But if we're talking rematches, I think most people know who I'd rather have a rematch with. But I'm not saying no to that. That's like absolute admiration for Steve. He's a warrior, and I watched him fight live last night, and incredible fight. He lost a decision though to an undefeated fighter, but yeah, nothing but admiration for Steve. But yeah, that could be a great fight. I fought him when I was an amateur. I lost a decision, but I'm nowhere near. I was 19 years old at the time, just a boy. I'm a man now. But yeah. But in generally speaking, I do actually really like Steve. I wish him all the best, whatever his next move is. But if that works out both of us in the future, I'm game, completely game. But if we're talking rematches, I want to fight Mike Ekendeo on a rematch. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
all right. You hear that, Steve? I hope Steve is watching. Hope Steve is
Or
watching.
Mike
Did you hear that?
Ekendeo.
Okay, so what do you think about? I have to ask you this question about Max Holloway pulling out of
Okay.
all fights that he's been scheduled for this year in the UFC. What do you think?
Hmm.
Do you think he just needs to move up a weight class, or?
That could be possible. Could be possible. I do struggle to see how when it's someone's full-time profession, how they fail to make weight.
Hmm.
I understand why people fail to make weight because it's so damn hard. But if it's your actual full-time thing to make weight, I mean, I don't want to be slagging off the champ either though, because I don't fully understand the story. But yeah, I don't know. I
Who did you
can't answer
have
that.
picked for the Ortega?
Not too sure.
Who did you have picked for Ortega versus Holloway?
Ortega versus Holloway. Mm, really hard. It depends because it is. Ortega seems to be just rising to every challenge that comes his way and not fussed by much. And all the momentum often at times seems on his side. And I was going to say, though, Max Holloway by decision due to his experience and who he's fought. So I'm going to say Max Holloway by decision. He would win the fight.
Y'all get this? Are y'all listening to this knowledge that we are getting? Like I've said many times before, guys.
I
Like I've
could be
said many
wrong.
times before. But like I'm saying, like this is what I've said before, Tom. You know, it's one thing for me and like my co-host as like a fan. Wow, a mini stroke. That's serious. Um, yeah, he had a mini. That's right. In the comment section, yes, he had a mini. They're saying he had a mini stroke. But it's one thing for us to speculate what happens and what we think will happen in these fights. But when we get these fighters on, guys, I mean, these guys live this. They know what's going on. They know, like I said, they watch it with different eyes than what we watch it with. So, you know, pay attention to what they're saying, guys, because this is really good. Um, but my next question, moving up a few divisions to heavyweight, what do you think about? First of all, what do you think about DC defeating Stipe Miocic, and what do you think about Brock Lesnar possibly being DC's next fight at heavyweight, even though he's coming off of a two-fight losing streak and a positive steroid drug test?
Yeah. Ooh, I think for DC's sake, I don't mind the whole thing because I believe DC will dominate Brock Lesnar. I'm a fan of DC as well as Stipe. So I wasn't too fussed who won the fight between them as well. I just kind of wish them all the best. But it's great to see that DC at 40 years old has such good opportunities ahead. It is naughty that Brock Lesnar can just jump in at that level,
Right.
and you know, I'm not a fan of him, of course. Like, I'm not a fan of anyone that cheats, because if you're cheating, you're an actor. You're not really a fighter.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
I'm I don't mind because I know DC's going to beat him, and it's a big payday for DC, and he absolutely deserves it, and it
He's
draws the attentions. I would absolutely be livid to see someone like Brock Lesnar win it though, because I just can't stand people that cheat in this game. It's so
right.
morally wrong. And the reason why is because the amount of damage you're going to inflict on someone else. If you look at with like the Olympic athletes, the people that get
Yes.
caught for performance enhancing drugs, look at the
Yes.
time differences on their sprint and stuff. And now we're talking about differences in power that we're generating when we're physically attacking someone. Is
Yes.
so wrong. On an emotional level, the damage you're going to cause someone from just losing anyway is hard enough. I know myself. I can't stand losing. But yeah, the physical damage. If you're cheating on performance enhancing drugs, yeah. So just kick his ass, DC. That's all I'm saying. Just kick his ass.
Do you think Stipe deserves the rematch? I see it is if Cody
Yeah,
Garbrandt gets a rematch, I think Stipe definitely being the most
yeah.
successful heavyweight of all time. I think he definitely deserves a rematch.
I think so. It depends if it works good for like business, if as many people want to see it. Um, I've got the most empathy for someone like Stipe because I've actually watched his career, and I think a rematch would be cool because he didn't really get to get in through any of the rounds or get his groove going. So or maybe just an immediate title eliminator fight, which obviously is what would happen, but. If they could fight again, that would be pretty cool. I would like that.
Ah, okay, I see. So, what do you see this highly anticipated um, Cody Garbrandt and T.J. Dillashaw? Where do you see that going this time? Because Cody almost
Yeah,
knocked him out last time. I mean, even though T.J. won by knockout, he almost knocked T.J. Dillashaw out in the end of the first round.
yeah. Okay. Whoever is the least emotional about the contest is going to get that
Mm-hmm.
fight. That's what's most probably going to happen. Um, so yeah, I don't know. That it really is a bit of a 50-50 fight. I'm going to say TJ Dillashaw.
That's
He will
that's
get
the
the
that's
fight.
the way I was. That's the way I was going to go too, man. It just seems to me like
Yeah.
Cody Garbrandt is a little too emotional. Like he
But
gets
for me to give a
invested.
better answer on that, I'd actually have to study what Cody's doing right now, how he's coping
Go
with the
ahead.
loss, and how he's training.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a wild guess I gave you just then, but I'm gonna say TJ Dillashaw is probably in better spirits right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just think, like I said, I just think Cody gets a little bit too invested in the show part of it as far as like the rivalry part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
kind of similar to Conor McGregor, the first fight he had with Nate Diaz. I feel like it was
yeah,
too much into the rivalry instead of focusing
yeah,
more on the fight, and
yeah,
Diaz called him.
yeah,
So what do you think about the? I know you've tried out for Tough. Your brother told me you tried out for the Ultimate Fighter.
yeah.
What
I
do you
was
think
hoping to be on the
about the?
season that just happened with Stipe
Yeah.
and DC, but
That
never
would have
mind.
been that would have been nice, and you definitely deserve to be there. You should have been there. Um,
I felt like that.
let me ask you this: what do you think? They're doing a featherweight season, featherweight slash heavyweight season. What do you think? That's to challenge Chris Cyborg. What do you think about them
Ah, okay.
not?
You got me excited then. I thought you said they were doing a featherweight season for like male athletes.
No,
I would have
no,
been
no
I would
females.
have been
What do
on
you
that
think
for a
about
second
them?
swing at that.
What do you think about them scrapping the veteran featherweight women who tried out, girls who could actually give Cyborg a legit competition, could put on entertaining fights with Cyborg instead of these one-sided beatdowns. What do you think about them
Yeah.
getting rid of all those girls and bringing in a bunch of up and coming new talent, girls with no
Yeah,
professional
it probably needs
fights?
to happen. I think so. She seems to not have any competition or anything that can stimulate her at the moment in that sense. So they need to be doing that for her sake as well, just keep her career hot popping off if you know what I'm saying, and keep people talking about it because she seems to just be steamrolling competition easy. And then people are I don't hear as much about it right now because there isn't anyone that is can no one's asking questions. Oh, how is she matched with this girl, this girl? It's not there. It's not saturated for the competition. So like all the eyes are not going to be watching her division at all because it's just
Right.
Chris Cyborg. A big fish in a small pond is how it seems.
Right.
So they need to change that for her.
Yeah, yeah. And some of these girls, I've interviewed a couple of them, man. And these girls, they're chomping at the bit to get in there. And I just think the UFC is just really wanting, Cyborg to be this very dominant champion. I don't think they really want to see Cyborg lose.
Mm,
So it is what it is. But let me ask you, if you got that call, let's say, because
yeah,
when these fights happen, and you're like in no matter what division, when these fights happen and people pull out of a fight short notice, they
yeah.
will call people to come in and fight. What would be your thought process if you got that call?
Yeah, I'd have to weigh up, of course, the risks. Like if I'm doing very well in my career and I get the call, um, and I'm not really ready for a fight, or I would consider it's most probably yes. Though I'm an opportunist, so it's very likely I'll grab it with both hands. But of course, I'm not an idiot. I will weigh up the pros and cons before I do it. But for the big time show, there's very little that I wouldn't do.
Okay, all right, man. Do y'all hear this, man? Y'all better be on the lookout for the
Yeah,
Mearns brothers because they're coming,
yeah,
man. They're
man.
coming.
I'm coming already. Like seriously, people might think I'm done for or not, but I'm not. I'm so disciplined. I'm motivated. I'm getting healthy every day, and I can't wait to make a return. Because like the challenge I've got ahead right now, trying to get this injury back is hard, and but I know it's not going to stop me, so that's just pretty cool. Can't wait for my return.
So your brother says that his weight cut seems to be fairly easy, and I don't know if you guys' weight or I know you guys are identical twins, but I don't know if your weight is similar, or if your bodies
Yeah,
function the same way. How does
yeah.
weight cutting go for you? How easy or how hard of a process is it for you?
Yeah, so like every athlete, I have good ones and hard ones. My last one was a very difficult one, actually. But I'm gonna keep sticking at featherweight. Reason why? Because from the moment the fight comes through, the game has started. So it's a game of discipline as well, and I know I win that every day, every day. So I was struggling to lose weight in general for my last fight. I ballooned up immediately after the Cage Warriors fight, and
Mm-hmm.
took just a little bit of time off to recover my body. But I was eating a lot. I've got a huge appetite, and then I thought, yeah, it'd be no problem bringing it back down. And then I had some things were going on, not that I need to say, but
Right.
I don't know if it rose my cortisol levels through the roof, but I couldn't shift weight, and I was struggling with stress on a big level, and I eventually just moved out of my house. I was moving like I had things going on like that leading up to the Bellator fight. So the day before the weigh-in at Bellator, I was much heavier than I usually am, but I didn't sweat about it too much because I was like, I know I'm gonna make weight. It's part of the game. Making weight is another thing to do with mental strength, and I've got it in an
Right.
abundance, mental strength. So I didn't even have a salt bath because I couldn't get some hot water in the morning. I literally just ran the whole lot off. But yeah, weight cutting is all part of the game. But usually overall, I do quite enjoy it because I'm not a bad cook. I like to eat healthy too. I like to eat junk food as well. So I'm just grateful for the healthy food I'm eating. I like seeing the physical changes in my body, and I just I can do it. It's when you see me fight, it's the same frame of mind when I'm doing my weight cutting. It's
Hmm.
difficult, but it doesn't bother me too much, or I can do it. And it's the same frame of mind that I'm approaching this injury with. It's nothing but a new opportunity for me now with the injury, and I can do the weight cut better than my opponent can, so therefore I'm already ahead of him. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I like weight cutting really because I do it well, but
So you have
I
some
do have a big
people.
weight cut.
Go ahead. Well, some
Yeah, I've
people,
got
yeah,
got
like
quite a bit.
these huge weight cuts in like in the UFC. I mean, what would you say what's your walk around weight?
78 kilos. I can get easily get to 80 kilos. I've never seen 80 kilos on a scale, mainly because when I think I'm there, I don't even jump on a scale. But yeah, I've seen 78 kilos. I'm probably 78 kilos right now. So I
Yeah,
mean,
we
then
going
I cut to
so
66 kilos.
somebody in the live chat look up what 78 kilos translates to pounds in.
Oh yeah, yeah, because usually we do it in kilos, over here, and then on, of course, the bigger promotions, then we do it on in pounds, but everyone goes by kilos.
So what do you think about these huge weight cuts that happen
Yeah,
in the UFC? Like for instance, DC cutting down to 205, or Darren Till cutting to 170, or Paulo Costa cutting to 170. What do you think about
yeah,
these tremendous? Those are like tremendous weight cuts. What do you think
yeah.
about those?
I haven't actually studied like the pure figures for myself to see how much bigger they are for the weight class. I always thought I was a fairly big featherweight because of I'm quite stocky.
Hmm.
So, if it's too much, I don't see the point because then I'm like, are you just afraid to fight someone bigger than you? If
Right.
that makes sense. So that's what gets me.
Hmm.
Um, so it's literally a game to be the best athletically in your division as well, and that doesn't mean being the biggest in your division. You have to be the best athletically in your division. So if they are going to ruin that athletic performance, then they really need to reevaluate, rethink what they're doing.
Yeah.
But that is just a game of discipline. I can't speak for them people, and I haven't actually looked at their stories enough to know. But yeah, you got to stay disciplined, and then it's not that much of a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, guys, look, y'all heard it here first, man. Interview with Tom Mearns. He's rehabbing his injury. He's kind of hanging out, keeping it low key. Give us a shout out to your gym, your coaches, and let us know who's behind you, man.
Yeah. So BST Academy. My head coach, Danny Batten. So look out for him. He will be at my next fight, whenever that is. I want my next fight to be absolutely huge. So BST Academy and my head coach, Danny Batten, assistant MMA coach, Raymond Paul. And then we've got John Graham, Muay Thai coach, Lee Edwards, my boxing coach. And then Stuart Turner at Tier 1. He's helping me rehabilitate my injury. So
Hmm.
I work with all these great people, and I'm incredibly lucky. All my team, and then my sponsors: Frost Hire, CBD Life UK, and Alex Fennin too. He's a physiotherapist. He usually does like massages for me leading up to my fights. So, and I've probably left some names out. I'm going to be kicking myself if I do, but I'm so grateful for everyone helping me. But by all means, people need to stay tuned for my next fight, or let me know who they want to see me fight, or what they want to see from me, because I'm very motivated and I'm very much looking forward to returning. And give me on Instagram
Well,
at Thomas Mearns.
well, I say Mearns versus Butters. That'll be a classic striker versus
Yeah,
grappler. That'd be nice.
yeah, yeah,
That'd be
man.
nice. That'd be real nice. Well,
Okay,
guys, we're not gonna hold Tom too long. Hey guys, hit the like button, share this video. That's your way of thanking Tom for stopping by No Filter MMA. We appreciate it. And man, get that arm right, man. Get it
absolutely.
going. We're ready to see you fight. Um,
Thank
I'm
you.
definitely gonna be tuned in.
And when I make my comeback, let's get in touch again and talk about the upcoming fight I'll have in the future
Absolutely,
from now, because it's most certainly going to
absolutely.
happen.
And next time we'll have to get a mashup interview with you and your brother. How about that?
Yeah. How about that'll be good. Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, guys, that's
You know
it.
what?
You got it.
Biggest shout out of I forgot someone. My brother Richard Mearns. He's the number
Absolutely.
one. He's the best. And that's probably one of my biggest fighting motivations is my brother. I actually got to put that out there, and I can't believe I didn't even say that. But it's probably the reason I fight the way I do. I'm as disciplined as I am, and probably why people they can't beat me because I got my bro behind me. So yeah,
Absolutely.
big shout out to Richard Mans. He's the best.
Absolutely. Well, we showing you some love all the way over here in the U.S., man. We sending our love and our support across the pond. Maybe one day we can get out there and me and the boys, the co-host on my podcast here, we can get out there and watch you guys fight live. So most definitely.
Yeah, man. Take
Well,
care, man. It's
hey
great
man,
talking to you.
thanks for stopping by, bro.
Thank you.